for a new person who's just starting out, no, there's no shortcut. You just have to struggle the same way we struggled. You know what I mean? I've been in North America for over 27 years.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That's almost my whole life,
You see what I mean?
Kendi.
So yeah.
Hey,
So
27 years?
yeah. What I'm trying to say is some of these things is time.
Yes.
It cannot.
You've
it
worked
does-
hard for years.
Yes.
Yes. In this episode, I hang out with Kendi Mworia, a successful realtor who talked to me about life as an immigrant and what it has taken her to reach her heights.
If I wake up and I decide I'm not working from 9 o'clock today, I'm going to start my day in the afternoon, I start in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't have to feel the pressure of I have to wake up and get to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean?
Is that what success looks like? In our conversation, Kendi shared practical insights on how you can continue on your own path to success and avoid the common pitfalls that hold many people back.
Credit is everything
Yeah.
in these countries.
Your credit worthiness, your credit score.
Yes. So if you can take care of that and then you're working hard, you're saving your money, you're going to get ahead. You're going to be able to borrow at the bank. You're going to be able to do things with their money.
Yeah.
But if you mess up your credit, then nobody's giving you anything. And eventually you won't be able to buy a house.
She also broke down the crucial role home ownership plays in building long-term wealth. We talked about how she became a multiple property owner and how you can do the same. So what would that difference be like?
So really, what I can say is $400,000 home in Mountain is a 750 to 780 here.
Yeah.
So we're in a difference of like 300,000.
When it comes to building a life of purpose and prosperity, few people plan and execute like Kendi. And if you are in pursuit of that life, then this episode is for you. Listen in. What about the fixer-uppers? Would you also oversee the fixing up of fixer-uppers?
No!
Why?
No, it's a lot of work.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you wouldn't even advise anybody to get a fixer-upper
No,
because you don't know
no.
what's going on with the property.
Yeah, the only people I tell to get a fixer-upper is people who can do the work themselves.
All right, so Mary, you go by Mary, right?
Do you know? I don't actually. I go by Kendi.
You go by Kendi?
Yeah.
What happened to Mary?
I just it's a revolution. So it's almost like what happened when I used to live in the US, I used to use Kendi.
Yeah.
I came to Canada. Most people, they start cutting off your name and they just call you by first name.
Okay.
So automatically people just start calling me Mary.
Yeah.
And then I kind of started accepting. Then by the time I was like, how did we get here? You know what I mean? So now I decided to go back to my name, my home name that I used to use before. And now I started trying to take it back to like, okay, actually I go by Kendi, because you get tired of correcting people. And then you're just like, oh, whatever, just go with what you want to go with. But now I just said, okay, actually, so now even in fact, when I do real estate, my cards and everything, it's Kendi Mworia. I don't even use Mary, but obviously when
Kendi
I go to
Mworia.
documents, I just put
Kendi Mworia. It sounds like an important name.
Yes, sir, Kendi Mworia.
It's a very important name, right?
It's Kendi Mworia.
Okay.
I went back to the roots of just using my home name.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know if you would be comfortable talking about this, but if I wanted to understand, the Kendi sitting in front of me, what is the context that you grow up in? And if you were to juxtapose that or put that next to the person that you are now, what motivates you to work so hard right now? Does that have anything to do with the context in which you grew up at all?
Yeah, it does, actually.
Okay.
Like for me, actually, I just mostly watched my dad, like he was a businessman, and I just always admired like, oh, he's a businessman. One day I want to be able to do my own business. Just that idea of like growing with a businessman, and you just think like, oh, I want to do that and I want to make money. I want to be independent. So yes, growing up, I actually had that mindset of, oh, I want to make sure I become like my dad, or
Yeah.
I make him proud, you know. So that motivation actually comes from home.
Did he ever give you any tips, business tips growing up, or did you ever go into work with him or shadow him at work, or?
Yes, I did. He used to own a wholesale shop, you know, for like selling sodas.
Yeah.
You know, the Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And then
So
we
your
had
dad was a Coca-Cola
a
distributor.
distributor. Yeah,
Okay,
yes,
damn, that was big.
I know
you
those
come
days.
from money, Kendi.
No.
I mean, all the people that I know who used to own Coca-Cola distributorships were like millionaires. And these like in the
Those
90s.
days?
90s millionaires are like real, you
So,
know.
I mean, you'd say, growing up in Meru, really, like when you really have a business,
Yeah.
you're considered rich, but you're not necessarily rich.
Yeah.
It's just that you're better than others
Yeah.
and you have more assets than other people in the town. But really, it's not that you're rich like millionaire standards.
Yeah.
Like my dad wasn't able to, like, you didn't afford to sponsor me to come and pay for my school and be like in an Ivy League college. When I came to the US, I came with just the little money I had, and
Yeah.
it's like, you're broke. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so I'm not that kind of rich, but it's the standards whereby people look at you in town and think like, oh, you're the best. You know, you have a shop, and he had a hotel as well. He had a restaurant. So it's kind of those standards. You're like the cream of the town.
I like the way you're throwing it in there. You know, he had a distributorship, he had a hotel there, he had a restaurant. Man, this is big stuff.
But it's not rich.
Okay.
Yeah, you know? Yeah.
Now I know when I hang out with people who grew up rich, I should never say that they were rich, because they will never accept.
No. I can't say we grew up rich. It's
Okay.
just average and average. Call it average, really.
Yeah.
You're the
Would you
better.
say middle class? Upper
Yeah,
middle class?
say
or-
middle class.
Okay.
Maybe call it middle class,
Yeah.
really. You know what I mean? Yeah. Rich? No. We were
Okay.
not there. I struggled. I worked hard.
I know that you work hard, though. I mean, I've watched you. I've known you for the past couple of years. I know that you work hard, and I want you to, I know what you do, but I also don't know what you do. I know that you sell homes, and you've been able to connect people with nice homes. But what do you call yourself?
So I'm a realtor.
Okay.
I'm a realtor. So I help people buy and sell homes in New Brunswick.
Okay.
But when I lived here in Ontario, you know I do life insurance as well, because we've talked about insurance and all that stuff. So I'm also a life insurance broker in Ontario and New Brunswick. So basically that's my line of business, a realtor and a life insurance agent. So
folks, if you want to get rich, you want to go into becoming a life insurance
agent.
A realtor first, and then a life insurance agent, because I can promise you these things will make you super rich.
No.
She came from money, she is making the money, and now she's distributing the money.
And I changed that. I did not come from money, but I struggled and worked hard. I've told you my life, really. I came to the US in 1998.
Damn,
that was a long time.
In 1998.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So I was a teenager.
So sometimes I look at you and I'm like, man, she's so rich. I want to be rich like her. It's because you've been working so hard all these years, ever since I was a toddler.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And then, when you look at things like when you watch right now, like let's say maybe like what's going on in the US and maybe all this thing about immigrants. Oh, they need to. I look at these things and I'm thinking, no. These are the people we bursted our, we worked 3 jobs. You go to one job in the morning, you go to one in the afternoon, you go to home care, you go to factory, and then you're trying to go to school at the same time. Those things are to happen together.
So you were working and paying your school fees at the same time.
Yes, exactly. Working, paying your school fees, trying to...
Your dad was feasting all the Coca-Colas back home.
And then when you call home, the question you get is, hey, when are you graduating? And you're thinking, I'm trying to figure out how to make ends meet first, because everybody thinks when you come out here, you automatically get rich. And then we also think when we come out here, we're going to get sponsors. Like there's like a white family, there's a scholarship and some white family waiting to just usher you in. No, those things don't happen. Those are just dreams. But the reality is when you come, you realize you have to work so hard And I did it. And I got used to doing it. And we never complained. We worked, we saved up money, and we ended up doing the things we needed to do, which is buy the homes, buy the cars, go to school. So immigrants work hard to get where they are. And, the notion of, they're taking other people's jobs, it's a false notion, because most of the jobs the immigrants are doing are the jobs that other people don't want to do. Yeah. So I got used to working hard, but now I'm at a point in my life where I don't have to work that hard. Like I worked before. What I do now, I actually enjoy doing it. And it's something that I wake up every day enjoying to do. It's not because I feel like, it's my last paycheck. If I don't go to work today, I'm going to be broke tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Would you say you're financially independent?
Yes.
Okay.
Extremely financially independent.
And I think that's what I want us to talk about today, financial independence and how you can get there.
Yeah, I am financially independent. And thank God I can say that. Yeah.
Folks, if you're new to this show, this is the Couch Connect. Over here, I hang out with great folks like Kendi here, and we talk about the science and art in everyday life experiences. So if you haven't yet, do subscribe to this channel. And remember to tell your friends to tell their friends. And this is my promise to you. I'll continue hanging out with great folks like Kendi here. And I'll continue having great conversations, inspiring conversations. And I'll continue trying to get better at what I do. So Kendi, let me ask you, how was your home a lifeline in you becoming financially independent?
Okay. So like, you mean like home that I lived in, or like buying a home? Is that,
either buying a home. So let me give a context here. So Kendi here and I are interconnected in some way. So when I moved to Canada, Kendi, I think, set me on that path to financial independence as well, because she sold me my first car.
Yes.
It was a 2005 Ford Escape. I think you'd use it for a couple of years, and you're still in very good shape. If you're buying a car, buy it from a lady, because they know how to take care of cars. I think anytime they had a problem, she probably took it to the dealership, the Ford dealership, and they kept the car in tip-top shape. So when I got the car, it was awesome, and I drove it for a couple of years. I eventually sold it for $1,000. Kendi sold it to me for $3,500. Right?
Yeah. And that was like, I was just giving it away. I'm like, okay, I'm moving on to other things. And I'm like, let me help my brother here. When you came, actually, because I could see how focused you were and how you really was trying to, get ahead. And sometimes you just always think like, what? If I can be a blessing to somebody else, then I want to be a blessing to somebody else in a certain way, Obviously, I wouldn't have given it to you for free, but at this time, you found me now this minute, and I had that kind of a car, I'll give it to you for free.
And so, now continue with that backstory. Kendi would invite me to her home with one of my cousins sometime, and we would fix curtain drawers,
the blinds,
and blinds and stuff like that. And I guess in that we got to talk a little bit, and I got to learn about this concept of home ownership. I was a new immigrant at that point. I didn't understand the concept of home ownership, how important it was, stuff like that. And so later on, you decided to move from the city that you were living in Ontario, and move to a different province. And we're probably going to talk about that. But before we get there, I understand that home that you lived in became sort of, I don't want to call it a lifeline, but was very instrumental in you becoming semi-retired, if I could say that, or retiring early, or becoming financially independent. So that's what I want to talk about. How important is it that owning a home becomes a step for you to becoming financially independent at some point?
That's a very, very important question. So where we lived in Whitby, obviously, my home then, and having lived there for like 10 years, when we bought houses those days, we were just buying because we needed a home. It's not because you're looking at it as an investment property. No, it was just more like I need a home, right? Then come 10 years later, the housing market has gone up, the values have gone up, and then here is COVID, and people are working from home, everybody is working from home. And I used to work from home too, because I had a 9-to-5 job, right? And when I realized I have the opportunity to actually pack up my stuff, move to another province, and still continue to work from home, and I can sell and go to a place where I can buy a home for cheaper, I was like, that's no brainer. I'm going to do that, So basically, my home set me up to actually financial independence because I was able to pack up, sell, move, buy a home to live in, and buy an investment property. And at that point, buying a home, I didn't have a mortgage anymore because if I had to still stay in Ontario and still stay in my home, then I'm going to have to continue paying a mortgage. But
so you basically sold your home and you had enough money to go and buy a home cash in New Brunswick.
And buy an investment property.
So you bought 2 homes.
Yes.
Well, basically 2 homes.
Yes.
Well, 1 home and 1 investment property.
Exactly.
To continue giving you money.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So when you ask how did that set me up for financial independence, that's exactly where it set me up.
Yeah.
And at that point, I could say, oh, actually, I don't need my 9 to 5 anymore. Now,
so you told those guys, sayonara.
I'm like, thank you for your time. I think I've really worked hard over 15 years. Now I want to do my own thing.
How did you quit? Did you quit were you married? Like, you know what, I don't need this job anymore. Or were you very kind and nice?
Actually, I'm not that kind of a person. Like, I always believe where you're coming from, you need to live in peace and appreciate. Even if everything was never perfect, anytime that's a job that was your bread and butter for so many years, it doesn't matter whether there are things you didn't like. You should always live that job with a clean spirit and be appreciative. So always, that was always my style. I'll always say, thank you. I appreciate having worked here. And even if everything was not perfect, I appreciate and give my notice and I move on.
So everything was not perfect. I don't want to get there.
Everything was not perfect. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Nobody ever says, nice things about their former bosses.
Yeah, in life,
some people
job, work is work. You can never really get 100% of what you want in a work environment because the job has to be done. You can only be totally free when you are your own boss. It's just, this is life. You know what I mean? Otherwise, the rest, you just have to appreciate that you have a job, work hard, and aim to get to another level. But don't keep complaining every time you're at work that your boss is not doing this and that. It's a job. They also have a business to run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't complain mainly about, as long as it's family life, work balance, where I know I can balance my family life and I can still go to work at the same time, then it's fine. I think the places where you really get not to be able to work is where you don't have a family life balance. But if you do have a work family balance, then you just hang in there until something better comes up.
So quick question, did you know that it was gonna be cheap for you to live in New Brunswick before you moved from here?
Yes.
Okay.
I did.
So what is that thing that prompted you to tell, what, I want to move from Ontario to New Brunswick?
Just looking at the housing market.
Okay.
And asking myself, how much are houses here compared to here in Ontario? And when I could answer that question, I'm like, can I get the same house there and have it paid off?
Yeah.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
Then what am I doing here? It's not like I was born here. You know what I mean? Whereby I have to be stuck up in one province. Or like where we say we have grandparents, parents, extended family. Most of us really don't. If you look around, maybe your family members are scattered all over the place, right? And there's nobody specifically you can say, I cannot leave this province because my parents and my grandparents are here, or my brothers and sisters, if you have good relationships, that you're trying to stay together. Most of us can pack up and go.
Another way that I think of it is, when I moved here, well, I have my family here, yes, but most of the friends that I've made here, or most of the people that I've known here, I never knew them for the many years that I already lived on Earth. And so if I were to move elsewhere, I can still make new friends elsewhere, but also we have ways of staying connected now.
Thank you. So true. I feel the same way too. And I realized that most of the friends you made, whatever stages in your life that you made the friends, those friends stick with you. It doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
And most of the time when you move to new places, it's not about making new personal friends anymore. It's more about just a community that you can thrive in, but not necessarily about personal friends. You know what I mean,
Makes
right?
sense.
Yeah, so I don't find a problem with moving. I feel like as long as you can go to a community where you have a church base, you have a community where you can thrive and your kids can thrive, you can always adjust. But I don't think you need to be stuck in one place because you are afraid. Most of the people are afraid to move because they don't know what they expect.
Yeah.
Right?
So let me ask you something. You decide to move to New Brunswick. You have a family. You have, kids. When you moved to New Brunswick, did you find that there was very specific differences in New Brunswick compared to Ontario, especially in the housing market or how the houses were set up? I know you told me that the home that you got there was probably pretty much the same as the home that you were living in here. But what are those differences that you notice immediately about the difference between home ownership and homes in New Brunswick and the homes in Ontario?
Well, here in Ontario, you have more variety. Like you have more choices of homes. There's building after building after building. There's many properties to choose from.
Yeah.
Well, in New Brunswick, it may not be the case. In fact, we have more buyers now in the market than we have the sellers. And we need more builders to actually build more because the demand is higher.
Yeah.
So really, in terms of quantity, there's more quantity in Ontario and more choices. And then in terms of how the homes are built, you can say like Ontario, you'll find that there's more newer homes. Whereas maybe in New Brunswick, it's more about the older homes or, like not as newer as you'd find in Ontario. Maybe the building happens more faster here in Ontario than it does in New Brunswick. So that's one. But we are actually building more now. In fact, in St. John, Moncton, we are actually building more, and you can see more buildings coming up because the demand is getting higher and higher. But that's one of the difference I saw, like the quantity, we have less for the buyers on the market than they would be in Ontario.
But I'm wondering, even if the homes are, like you said, older, can't I just, renovate them?
Yes, you can.
And I would imagine it's cheaper to buy and renovate in New Brunswick.
Yes, true.
And the home will be as new as the ones that are in Ontario.
Yeah, true.
What do you say about the sizes of the homes in Ontario compared to the size of the homes over there?
Well, we
even
have
the new ones.
Yeah, I know. We have more lot size in New Brunswick.
Yeah.
So you could be living in your own space and your next neighbor is like 2 blocks down, which is good.
Yeah. So you have a lot of space.
Yeah, we have space. Land space, we have more. Here, the homes are more squeezed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the size of the homes themselves?
Itself, the square footage, actually, most of the homes there too are big size because I guess in the past when they built homes, they built them like really big.
Like American homes.
Yeah, exactly. So you get the big size home. Of course, some are small too, but compared with Ontario, I would say just depends with the neighborhood. Depends on where you're looking at the homes. Some are small in square footage, others are big. All is there. It's just your choice, really. Yeah.
I've met many immigrants here. Most of the people who watch this podcast are either, immigrants or, African diaspora mostly. And one of the things that when I talk with them, especially the ones who live in Ontario that I interact with is they talk about the way the homes in Ontario right now are very expensive. I mean, the average cost of a home in Toronto right now is about $850,000. And that's for an average sized home. For a properly sized home, you're talking about $1,200,000 plus. So I'm just wondering, what are the home prices in New Brunswick right now? And let's talk about these homes in the bigger cities. So comparing big city in New Brunswick to big city in Ontario. So Toronto versus St. John, I'd say is the biggest city.
Moncton
is
be
bigger?
Yeah,
Okay.
Moncton could be bigger in terms of, so we can go with Moncton. Yes.
So what would that difference be like?
So really, what I can say is $400,000 home in Moncton is a $750 to $780 here.
Yeah.
So we're in a difference of like $300,000 thousand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right? For the same house.
Yeah.
You know, which is like a townhouse. I'm not talking about a detached. I'm talking about a semi-detached townhouse, 3 bedrooms, say 3 bath.
Yeah.
With a maybe finished basement sometimes, or sometimes the basement is not finished.
Yeah.
But it's basically just nothing to it. You don't have lot size. It's basically semi-detached, you know. So that you're getting for like 450 to not close to 500. Well, here the same houses are between 750, 780 to 800.
Yeah.
So that's a huge difference. And if I'm starting out and I'm looking for a place to go buy a house, I'd rather start off in New Brunswick.
Yeah.
If I really can, why do I want to pay 300,000 more to be in Ontario and be in a squeezed environment?
So let's say I want to buy a home in New Brunswick, but I don't want to live in New Brunswick. Is that possible?
It's possible, but you either have to rent out your home.
That's
right?
what and I think that's what I wanted to look at. What options do I have in terms of if you know, I hang out with a mortgage broker recently. They're called mortgage brokers, yes. His name is Jeremy, a wonderful guy. You should check out the podcast. We can put it up here, and then you can go look it up, you know, whenever you can. But Jeremy told me that for someone who wants to live in a nice neighborhood but can't afford to buy a home in that nice neighborhood, buy where you can afford and rent where you can live. That's what he told me. And so I'm thinking here that if someone here in, you know, anywhere in Canada, and I guess in North America really, wanted to buy a home but can't afford to buy a home in the city they live in, can they just buy a home, I'd say remotely, in
New Brunswick?
In New Brunswick?
Yeah, you can, but obviously you have to qualify in terms of if it's not your residential home and you're working here, there are other steps you have to take to be able to...
So let's talk about those steps.
To qualify. So meaning you have to talk to a mortgage broker. You might most probably have to put 20% down as an investment property instead of a 5% buy, you know, because you're investing. At that point, you're an investor. And then, of course, you have to be able to prove that you're going to be able to support the mortgage there because it's not your residential, primary residential home, right? So, but it is possible. A lot of people are doing it. They're able to buy, but you need 20% down. And then I'll find you a tenant who can rent the place. Average rental, so like for, let's say what I was talking about, let's say townhome, 450,000 to maybe not more than 500. You can rent it out for maybe 2,100 a month. 2,100.
Could that cover your mortgage?
Yes, it will cover the mortgage because maybe the mortgage is going to run around maybe 2,000, depending. But if you've put 20% down, it depends. So you have to talk to a mortgage broker to run those numbers. I'm not a mortgage broker, but then yes, it will be 2,100. It can, for rent, it can cover the mortgage. But obviously, you have the taxes that you have to pay, which is property taxes as well. So you might have to pay something out of your pocket in terms of maintaining other things like waters, like the landlord has to pay for the sewage and water, you know. So there's a few other, but even if you had to pay something out of your pocket, it's still an investment property that is appreciating in value. And if you give it another 10 years, we will be at the 750 we are talking about in Ontario because that's where our market is going. So the game is really to hold on to the property and wait for it to gain equity.
You said something here that is so cool. In my opinion, so cool. So basically what you put in is 20% of the home price. So out of $500,000 home, 20% is what? 20% is 100,000, right?
Yes.
So if you put on 100,000 in a 500,000, wait, it's 400,000 actually. Never mind.
450, say 450.
So you know what? I'm gonna be cheap. I'm gonna put it at 400,000. So that's 80,000.
Okay.
So you put on 80,000, and that's basically all you're putting in. In what you're saying, in 10 years, that home is gonna be worth about 800,000.
Yeah, most probably, because we are moving on to the same trend as Ontario. As long as people keep moving out to New Brunswick and they're coming out there, which has been happening, then we appreciate the same way. We will get to the point where Ontario got to now, where the housing market
because
is
10 years ago, the homes in Toronto were $300,000.
Exactly. Well. And in New Brunswick, then they were 100.
Okay. And now that trajectory has been going up.
Yes.
Okay. So going back to my numbers here, it's 80,000 is going to turn to 400,000 easily because, the home has gone up by $400,000 in value. That means that your $80,000 is going to turn into 400,000. It's going to 5x.
Yeah, it's gonna. The point is, you cannot beat the appreciation, the equity that you gain from the home. It's really like I've gained a lot of appreciation in my own properties, even my own home that I moved into.
Yeah,
I've gained maybe 200 and something thousand equity in it.
And you've only been there for
years?
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
So. I mean, I'm not talking just numbers out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But so hoping, of course, I can't predict the future markets. But if this is the way we're going, and people like the small provinces and like the fact that small provinces are cheaper in housing market right now, and they keep moving out there, then we're going to have an appreciation in those properties going up and up.
Okay. So then what you're saying to me here, after listening to you keenly, what we're saying here is that real estate in New Brunswick is a viable way to invest for your future and even retire early.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's the way. It's the way. I mean, a lot of people talk about, stock market. No.
Yeah.
Real estate is your stock market, really. Usually that's where you should be. The
entry barrier is a little bit high, though, for real estate, compared to the stock market. And, let's break that down here a little bit. So I'm just wondering, can someone with a single home income, at an average income of about $70,000, $80,000, would they realistically be able to buy a home easily in New Brunswick and move there?
I think you need usually, if you're making 70,000, like here in Ontario, if you're making 70,000 a year, I would say the best bet is you need to be at maybe 100,000.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? It's usually, my mortgage broker told me it's like 4 times your annual income that you can be approved for. You know what I mean? So if you're making 100,000, maybe you can buy up to 400,000, but assuming you're putting 20% down. So you're only borrowing, if you're going for the home for 450, if you're putting 20% down, you're only borrowing 350.
Yeah.
So then in that sense, if somebody is making 80,000 a year, then it's possible that they could qualify, or maybe at least if it's a 2-person income household, then the 2 husband and wife could combine their incomes together and be able to afford. So if they're
on average at 70,000, that becomes 140.
Exactly.
But now let's turn this around, because I want to understand that some of my audience members are not married. Some of them are very single.
Yeah.
They probably they're scraping by to get to that 70,000. They're probably doing 2-3 jobs to get to that $70,000.
True.
But then let's say they decide to uproot their lives from Ontario and move to New Brunswick. So how reasonable is it that they're going to be able to be approved for that $350,000 home? Because I think that, while we said that, maybe we said something here that you might correct me. We say that there are $400,000 homes. That's the average price.
Yes.
But are there $200,000 homes in New Brunswick?
They are, but they're fixer-uppers.
Okay, they're fixer-uppers. So you got to do a little bit of work in there.
A lot.
Okay, a lot of work. Okay, so reasonably, you need at least a $400,000 home then.
Yes.
Ideally. Okay.
Yes.
So with a $70,000 income, I mean, you move to New Brunswick, you decide to uproot your life. Will you be able to find a job in New Brunswick that can give you $70,000?
Okay, that's a very good question. So job-wise, I would suggest that if there are people in healthcare, people who are in the most needed fields, which is like healthcare, then you're most probably going to be able to get a job. That's no questions, right? But if you're in other professionals like business, you're maybe in retail, or these are the jobs that you really have to totally change and try to find a new job. We don't have as many Walmarts, Home Depot, like the multiple of stores available to say that we can accommodate all this population influx. You know what I mean, right? So finding a job, other people work in the banking sector too. There's people working in the financial service industries, like in the banks, which I see a lot of people are working there. Like even a lot of immigrants are working there, which the jobs are there, but they're not as many as they would be in like Ontario, which has more jobs, more companies, and all that, right? So my suggestion is don't move in the hopes of coming to find a job. I think you need to first figure out the job situation
before you try to move.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's my best advice. Not unless you're in healthcare and you're guaranteed that, oh, you know, I can get a job as a nurse or as a doctor. All those jobs in healthcare are readily available, even PSW, you know. But when it comes to all these other jobs that are specific, you actually do need to sort out your job situation first before you say, I'm packing up and moving. So even myself, when I packed up and moved, I wasn't packing up and moving, hoping to go look for a job.
You are already retired.
I was already deciding that I'm going to be self-employed. So if you have a self-employment mentality, you have an idea of what you're going to do, then definitely...
there's things to do.
Exactly. So I hope I'm kind of making sense,
you're making total sense. Because I don't want, you know, my friends here who are watching us right now to decide to, you know, quit their jobs and, you know, carry their entire savings and move over to New Brunswick, buy a home and in the hopes of finding a job there. But I think what you said is important, that, you know, there's jobs in the healthcare sector and maybe the banking sector, but mostly the healthcare sector is, I think, what you're drumming up here. And I know that there's very many of my friends who watch us who work in the healthcare sector. But then, then if you cannot move to live there, you can buy without living there. So let me, you know, throw in something else here that I learned. There's many duplexes in New Brunswick, or at least in the big cities in New Brunswick. So what is the average price of a move-in ready duplex? And my hope here is that, so for the folks who are watching us and probably don't understand what a duplex is. A duplex is a maybe you can tell them what a duplex is.
So it's just two in one. Like like basically you have a separate entrance to the basement. Maybe there's a unit there, and then there's other people upstairs who are basically living upstairs. So it's a shared home that has two families that can live in it, and all those two families have a kitchen in their own unit. They have bathrooms in their own unit, and it's all self-contained, but they have separate entrances. So
this could also be a low-rise apartment. Could we also say a low-rise apartment with two units is considered a duplex as well, or a triplex? Apartments
are not considered duplexes, really. Duplex just means two. You know.
Or what about 3 units?
Triplex. So
a triplex. So would that be considered an apartment or no?
It's it's a house, but there's 3 units.
There's 3 units, okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those for a moment here. How reasonable can someone be to say, you know what, I don't have a job, but I'm going to buy a duplex, I'm going to live in 1 unit, I'm going to rent out the other unit?
If I would advise like any first-time home buyer who wants to move out to New Brunswick and you actually want to be able to have someone else pay your mortgage, yes, go for the duplex and be able to just say, I can live in it and I can rent it out. You know, that's a very good idea.
Let me ask you, if someone were to decide today to move from Ontario to New Brunswick, what are the top 3 steps that you can advise this person to start taking today?
Okay. So number 1 step is, do you have a job?
Okay.
in New Brunswick?
We already talked about that.
That's the first
sounds
question.
Like that's very useful.
Yeah,
very meaningful. Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to work? Are you going to be self-employed? If you don't know about your job situation, please don't move. So that's step number 1. Sort out your job situation. And then number 2 is how much can you buy of a house? Like, what do you qualify for? I'll just start checking in how much can I buy? Do I have to sell in Ontario for me to move to New Brunswick? Or if I have never owned a home before, then I need to go for pre-approval for a mortgage, find out what I can buy. But remember, when you're looking to get a mortgage to move to New Brunswick, you'll have to prove to the lender that you're going to have the job, because your approval is based on your job that you currently have. But if you say you're moving to New Brunswick, the question becomes, what work are you going to do? Is your job allowing you to work from there? So you need to find out whether your job actually allows you to work virtually.
Yeah.
And if you do have that, then they can give you a letter stating that you can work virtually, because your approval is going to be based on the job.
That job. Yeah.
Otherwise, if you say, no, I'm going to find a job when I go there, there's no lender who's going to give you a mortgage approval for buying in New Brunswick when you're working in Ontario. They want to know, how are you going to pay the mortgage?
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to tell them, oh, I'm going to find a job when I get there, right? Yeah. So your approval is going to be based on you proving that you're keeping your current job.
Yeah.
Or you have another job opportunity, which obviously now you have to work out with the mortgage broker to discuss all that, how it works. So that's number 2. What is it? What approval do you have? And can you actually afford to buy? That's what I would look into.
Yeah.
And then number 3, I would actually do my research about New Brunswick and what exactly is it that you like. Do you like country life? Do you like quiet life? Or do you like city life? Because there's some people who, let's say, have moved to New Brunswick and they're more like city life people. And when they come out, maybe they feel like this is too slow for me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I want more like action. So you have to be ready to know that the environment out there is not the same as here. You know?
You bring out a very good point, because I wanted to understand what the culture in New Brunswick is like, or what the social life in New Brunswick is like. And I think that's what you're talking about here right now.
Exactly. So if you're a person who likes the city life, you want to be in town 24/7, you know the Nairobi life. It's like, do you like Nairobi life, or do you like the Meru life, or the Kisii life?
Well, I would say is I love the Kisii life close to Nairobi. The reason is because Kisii is so far away. I love Nairobi and Kisii. If I would bring Kisii close to Nairobi, I would love that. But I'm a village boy, deep down inside.
Thank you. I'm a country girl too. I'm very okay being in the country. I have no desire to be like in the commotion in the cities. When I was younger, like in my 20s, then yes, being in the city, going to, and the malls and what have you, that was fun. But I think now I'm too old for that. Like, I'm not like in that life anymore. I'm okay being in a quiet
Clearly,
place.
Seems like when you moved in 1998, the clubs in whatever city you moved to must have suffered.
Don't even remind me when we were young and we worked at the factory and we were leaving the factory like at 11 o'clock on Friday night, but we had time to go shower and go hang out.
Go out to the clubs. Hey. You're trying to shake off the 3 shifts from your system.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Friday night and you're ready for it. Now, I want to go to bed.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing keeping me up past 10 o'clock. I want to go to bed. So what I'm trying to say is, what stage in your life are you? Are you wanting a busy city life? If you are, then you might find it boring out in the small towns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you're okay being in a quiet and easy go, not too much traffic, and just quiet life, then you'll be fine. So I don't want you to be that person. You move out to New Brunswick, then you're like, oh, there's nothing to do. You know, we don't have restaurants and all this. Yeah, obviously we don't have 20 restaurants in one street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right? So I would say do your research, and if you can visit first.
Yeah.
And actually get a feel of it. Find out about the schools. We have good schools and everything, but find out where do you want your kids to go to school, like what communities, what really is valuable to you, you know, in terms of family life. But you'd love the family life there, obviously, 100% you will. And you know what I say to people here? A lot of people say, oh, you know, I don't want to move to a small town, country life. You know, I like the city, you know, like Toronto, you know, CN Towers. I bet you most people here haven't even been to the CN Towers. Like,
true.
Yeah.
Well, you probably passed by there once. Like, it's like you are a tourist yourself.
Yeah. Right? So if you've been here for over 15 years and you've never been to the CN Towers, why are you so excited about being in Toronto close to the CN Towers when you've never been there?
Yeah.
And then you keep saying, oh, no, Toronto is fun. CN Towers.
I guess it's because maybe they have friends here, don't you think? Maybe they equate the fact that they have many friends here to that. And I think another reason is if when you immigrate to a new country and you happen to live in Toronto as your first city, you're probably that's all you know, and maybe that's what you're gonna love. And maybe that's why I think it's important for them to explore a place like New Brunswick.
They do. I think people.
And I think something that is beautiful is that they have you.
Yes.
Because I watch your Facebook videos. I'm going to put Kendi's contacts in the description to this video, so check them out. Contact her, and she will hook you up with a nice property, a nice home in New Brunswick. Something else that you said that I liked is that if they buy a home and they don't live there, you can find them a tenant.
Yeah.
How important is that?
Oh, so important. I actually manage people's properties, like people who are just investing. So yes, if you want to buy a home and you just want to find a tenant, I will manage it for you. And I'll just go do the inspections. You don't have to worry about like coming. All you have to worry is receiving your money, you know, on a monthly basis. And
money bags.
Yeah, right. But I'll find you a tenant. I'll put a tenant in there for you. And there's no problem. You don't really have to come there to actually buy an investment property. Because I've been doing investments. I know how to buy investment properties. I wouldn't advise you to buy something I wouldn't buy for myself.
Yeah.
So you can trust that if I tell you that this is a good investment property, it is.
What about the fixer-uppers? Would you also oversee the fixing up of fixer-uppers?
No!
Why?
No, it's a lot of work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't even advise anybody to get a fixer-upper because you don't know what's going on with the property?
Yeah. The only people I tell to get a fixer-upper is people who can do the work themselves.
Okay. People who are in, you know, like
construction.
Yeah.
If you know you're handy yourself and you know you can come to New Brunswick and actually fix that house yourself, get it going, you have a team of people to help you, then go for it.
Yeah.
But if you're expecting me to manage your fixer-upper and to get it repaired,
get the construction people to do it.
No. It's a lot of work, and then it's a lot of money too. Sometimes people don't realize that the money that it takes to actually bring a house back to a good state, you underestimate, but it's a lot of money. We've done fixer-uppers before with Dawn, and we've done a couple, and now we don't really do fixer-uppers anymore. The reason being is the fixer-uppers are not cheap themselves anymore.
Yeah.
They've gone up in price. So if you're going to buy them and you're going to spend so much money fixing them, and then you're still not going to really get the money out of it, if you're going to use it as a rental property, then it's fine.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to sell it, you really have to hold on to it for quite some years before you can think of flipping. You know, you can't just flip within the year of saying, oh, I'm going to buy it and flip it. No, the market for that ship has sailed. If you bought those houses like in 2018, 2019, when nobody had discovered New Brunswick, then you'd have been good. That time houses were like a fixer-upper was like 50,000. You could get a fixer-upper for 50,000.
Yeah. And then people discovered New Brunswick.
They discovered New Brunswick. Now the market is not the
people
same.
Like you.
You see? So fixer-upper is like 200,000 now. Yeah.
And you're going to put in some 200,000.
You're going to put maybe 100,000.
Yeah.
So can you imagine what you're not really, the numbers are not adding
if
up.
you're lucky, you could even sell it for that 300,000.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So no, I don't manage fixer-uppers. No.
Well, the healthcare system in Canada is all over the place. I want to believe that's generally across Canada, so I don't want to talk about the healthcare.
Yeah.
But I want us to talk about maybe the education system in New Brunswick. And maybe while you're answering that, think about someone with a young family, a growing family. So if would you say that someone raising a family would find it easy to raise a family in New Brunswick?
Yes. Yes. It's more community-based. It's more communities. So I feel like it's more tight-knit.
Yeah.
You know? So I think if you're really looking to raise kids, it's a good environment to be in. You're not going to regret about that. I'm not saying Toronto is anything wrong with Toronto, but obviously Toronto is big and diverse, you know. But for education-wise and being in a small community, I think New Brunswick is a good place to be. Yeah, and I love it for that myself. Yeah.
I know that in this video, we've given a lot of reference to Toronto. That's simply because I live in Toronto.
Yeah.
And actually, to give credence, Kendi traveled all the way from New Brunswick to Toronto to record this podcast.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, Kendi.
I know, right? Yeah. I flew in the other day and I called Joab. I'm like, yeah, I'm in town.
Let's hang out.
Let's couch connect.
and thank you for hanging out with me. You know, it is beautiful. And so, like I was saying, the reason why we're giving so much reference to Toronto is because this is where we live, or this is where I live, and this is where we are recording this from. But this really applies to anybody, anywhere in North America, where you feel like life there is very expensive, and you'd like to move to a slower, quieter, community that you can raise and grow up in. And I like the fact that Kendi is hanging out with us today because she is such a great realtor. And she's going to help you out. Help you out find a property, help you find a mortgage broker, and ultimately help you move and settle in New Brunswick if that is something that you'd be looking for. And all the things that we're talking about here are things that I think will be useful to me if I would decide to move to New Brunswick. And my hope is that these questions are useful enough for you if you wanted to move to New Brunswick. So if you feel like there's some questions that I'm not asking and you wanted Kendi to answer them, you can put them in the description to this video, and then Kendi's going to respond to those questions in the description to the video. Let me ask you, you live in St. John.
Yes, St. John.
So would you say St. John is very hot? Since St. John is next to the ocean, next to the Atlantic, it's
Atlantic,
it's what do they call it? A coastal city.
Yes,
that's what they call it.
We have the ship coming there.
Yeah, I remember passing by there someday.
Yeah.
I was on my way to Nova Scotia, so I did a cross-Canada trip. And we stopped by St. John. Well, we stopped by, Moncton and Fredericton and St. John. Went down to the Bay of Fundy.
Reversing falls.
Yeah, we saw all that,
the water reversing.
the water going back. Yeah. So they have this nice phenomenon where the water actually goes back. You know, the way a river flows forward, this river actually flows backward.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. It's you can go read it up. It's a nice phenomenon caused by, I think, the tides in the Atlantic and the river. I don't know what the name of the river is.
Yeah, reversing falls. Look up the reversing falls.
Yeah,
St. John.
That was awesome, and it also looked very dangerous though. Like when
yes. You don't want to be caught up in that wave.
But I was asking how the city is. St. John is. Is it very humid, you'd say, in the summer, or is it generally
actually interesting? I don't know. When I came to Toronto just the other day, I just felt like it was too hot here.
Yeah, it was. We've had a terrible heat wave for the past 4 days here.
So we have a breeze because I think we have trees. It's not like we have buildings on every corner like here. So we have the trees, so you can feel a little bit of the breeze. But I don't really feel, having lived in Toronto, and now in St. John, I don't really feel like the weather is much of a difference. In the winter, maybe we get heavy snow, like
is it colder?
piles. To be honest, no, it's the same. This winter, in this North America of ours, it doesn't matter where you are. Cold is cold. Winter is winter. Not unless you really go to a warmer places like Texas or Florida. But I think winter is winter. You know, having lived here in Toronto and lived in St. John, New Brunswick, for me, there's no difference. The main difference I found is just the snow is heavier, like heavy. Like when you're trying to shovel it from the ground, it's heavy. Yeah. But otherwise, the cold to me is just the same, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does your lifestyle in New Brunswick compare to what you imagined as success here in Ontario? And the reason why I'm asking this is it is very possible that when you were in Ontario, there was something that you defined as success, or, you know, what your retirement would look like. But now you live over there and you're financially independent and you've seen what that success looks like now. So then how would you differentiate that imagined success in Ontario with the real success that you are living in New Brunswick?
You know, to be honest with you, that's a very important question. And, you know, like when I came, I'm calling some of the people I used to work with at my daytime job. And I'm like, hey, I'm around, you know, when can we do lunch, you know? And then I'm thinking, obviously they're busy because they are on this time schedule.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right? And then I'm thinking, when I really look at my real success now in New Brunswick as compared to when I was in Ontario, is just the freedom of being able to set my time the way I want to set my time. You know what I mean? If I wake up and I decide I'm not working from 9 o'clock today, I'm going to start my day in the afternoon, I start in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't have to feel the pressure of I have to wake up and get to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean?
Is that what success looks like?
Yeah, that's what success.
Waking up anytime you want, to going to work whenever time you want to
anytime I want. I'm at my own schedule. I set my appointments as it suits me. You know what I mean? If I have an emergency with, let's say, my child, I don't have to feel like, oh, I have to go to work. What do? I have to tell my boss I can't. Like, there's this pressure about going to my 9 to 5 when I was in Ontario. That pressure that I don't have now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wish that everybody could be able to get to that point where you don't have that pressure of like the 9 to 5. But that doesn't mean I'm not working hard. I'm working hard, but I'm working at my own time.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? Right? So that's one thing I came to realize, that there's a level of stress I could have had when I was doing my 9 to 5 that maybe even could get me feeling sick that I don't have now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I'm able to just say I'm planning my own time.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying what I'm doing at my own time. You know what I mean? It's really a whole different world. Like being able to be self-employed, planning your own time, and not feeling pressured.
Yeah.
To be at 9 to 5, that you don't have a choice, that you don't have other options. Like that's the thing. Now I feel I have options.
Yeah.
Do you know
Do you
what I mean?
feel like it is possible for anyone to achieve the level of success that you've achieved right now if they were to move to New Brunswick?
Not immediately. Not if they already have a life set here.
Yeah.
And they already have resources and assets that they could liquidate, and they could be able to translate into something in New Brunswick, which a lot of people who've lived here so many years have those assets and resources. It's about where do you take them?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But for a new person who's just starting out, no, there's no shortcut. You just have to struggle the same way we struggled. You know what I mean? I've been in North America for over 27 years.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That's almost my whole life.
You see what I mean?
Kendi.
So yeah.
Hey,
So
27 years?
Yeah. And
that's a long time.
And most
no
of
wonder you are very successful.
No, what I'm trying to say is some of these things is time.
Yes.
It cannot.
You've worked hard for years.
Yes. So when you come into the country and think that you're going to be like me in 5 years, no, it's not possible.
Yeah.
You know, you need to put in time. You need to save up money. You need to do the 3 jobs. You need to, like, you have to do it all. There's no shortcut. So I tell people, even when they look at me now, they're like, oh, how come, you know, she has it. No. I've worked hard. I've been around for 27 years. And most of the time, maybe I got my breakthrough maybe from my 10th year.
Yeah.
Not my first to the 10th. My first year to the 10th year in North America was struggle.
Yeah. The first 10 years were a struggle. Would you say that's the same for any immigrant coming in right now?
Yes. You just have to wait it out, but you just have to work hard. Make sure you have a job, you're working hard, you're saving money. And then also don't get into debt. Unnecessary debt, which is like credit card debts that are, when I first came to America, I just give you this short story. When I lived in the US, when I was a teenager then, my first credit card was like Sears store. I went to this mall and I'm shopping and they're like, oh, do you want a credit card? You know, and I'm like, yes, you know.
Yeah.
So give me a credit card for like $500. And I'm like, wow, these people love me so much that, you know, they just saw me and money. They're just giving me some free
free money. This is for you.
You know what I mean? So I got the credit card and they're like, oh, you can get anything you want from the store, you know? So I got my clothes, name it, all the nice things that I like, you know?
Yeah.
And then obviously I'm paying on the card. Then I'm like, how come I pay every month? And then the day I looked at my statement, I realized that the amount I borrowed was still the same.
Yeah. It's never changed. You've been paying monthly, but your balance is not going down.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So I called them up and I said, you know, like, haven't you been getting my payments? I pay monthly. They're like, oh, ma'am, that goes to interest only. I'm like, like interest only? What do you mean, right? So I had no understanding of how credit works.
Yeah.
I had no understanding of how credit cards work. So as an immigrant, you need to pay attention. Don't go getting every credit card that's offered to you. All you need is a maximum of 2, maybe from your bank and maybe 1 more. And even 2 is unnecessary. Maybe you just need 1. And that's it. Don't go getting all these cards because you are paying interest only. Yeah. And your balance never goes down. You know what I mean? So whenever you're offered credit card, don't think they love you too much.
They're just looking for a way to make money.
They're looking for a way to make money. They're in business, right? Right. So just the financial literacy, just being able to be educated financially, not to make mistakes. Don't mess up your credit. Build your credit. Credit is everything. Yeah. In these countries.
Your credit worthiness, your credit score.
Yes. So if you can take care of that and then you're working hard, you're saving your money, you're going to get ahead. You're going to be able to borrow the bank. You're going to be able to do things with their money. Yeah. But if you mess up your credit, then nobody's giving you anything. And eventually you won't be able to buy a house. Then also, don't buy brand new cars if you can afford them. They are necessary. Because, like what we did, like you said, you came, I sold you my old car, you know. That's the way to go. Don't get caught up into brand new cars. The minute you leave the parking lot, that car is depreciated.
20% off.
Yeah. But you know, people they think it's like nyumbani, where we're thinking, oh, I'm going to get a brand new car.
And, and it's like an asset.
It's not an asset here. You see the difference.
It's a liability that you basically need a car to move around.
You see what I mean? So those are the things we need to learn. Like, get educated on finances.
Kendi, let me ask you, now that you are, successful and, financially free, I'd say, independent, do you still buy old cars? Or am I going to come to your parking lot? I'm going to find this Cadillac Escalade 2025. Actually,
no, I don't buy like old that's making noise on the road when I'm trying to drive.
Now you're buying new old.
No, just like maybe 2 to 3 years old.
Yeah.
like, but I don't like buy like 2020. I'm not doing 2025.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're in like 2023-ish.
So like my car right now, it's 2022, 2022, you know?
When did you get it?
I got it like 2 years ago.
So you got it when it was like a year old. So you got it in 2023. You got a 2022 car in 2023.
Yeah, actually it's 2020. I think it's a 2020 actually.
Okay.
Yes, if I remember very well. Because I remember when I bought it, it was already 2 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because you cut down
How long
the
are you
price.
keeping that for?
How long am I keeping it for? Just for as long as I feel like it's still doing, because I drive a lot and I go showing houses. I'm driving from St. John to Mountain, you know, so as long as it's running good, because I'm in the car a lot.
Yeah.
So I need a car that's working well, but I'm not going to go for brand new. The day I'm going to go for brand new, then it's because I've actually saved up cash that I can buy the car cash myself. But I'm not going on a credit on a brand new car.
You're not going on a car note to get a 2025 Escalade?
No.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. You have to make you have to make wise decisions to be financially free in this country.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna live in debt and you'll never be able to pay off. You know. Yeah.
Since we're talking about living financially free, I have a question here for you as we are landing this plane.
Yeah.
If someone is listening to you and wants to break financially free, but is scared to leave a big city and move to a smaller community, slower community, that would, push them or propel them toward financial freedom, what would you say to this person?
I said, man, what are you waiting for? That's my question. Because if what I'm doing now and knowing what I know now and the life that I'm living right now, I don't understand why someone wants to struggle in Toronto. And also, you know what the thing is, Joab? You still have the huge mortgage here that you haven't paid off. And you've had your house maybe for whatever, 10, 15 years. You went borrowed on top of it. And then your mortgage is still up there. Why not sell? Just sell, move, pay off your mortgage, have ready cash to come buy a house half the price.
Yeah.
And say, I have my mortgage paid off. That's a good start.
Yeah.
Like you can be mortgage free by just relocating from Ontario to New Brunswick. You can be mortgage free.
Or anywhere else for that matter, British Columbia or anywhere else.
Even from BC, exactly, right? So I think it's really like, if I had to make a decision, especially if you're getting older and your goal is to retire, how many more years do you have to work?
Think about it.
And then when will you ever finish paying off your mortgage? I really don't want to be stuck up with mortgages. I want to retire and just go to the beach, relax, know that I don't have a mortgage. So the same thing for people here. Please, you don't have to be stuck in Ontario. Come on out. That's all I can say. Come on out to New Brunswick.
Do you go to the beach every day
no, I don't. No. But, now I have the freedom to, I just like the freedom of not being in too much debt that I have to go to work for those debts.
Yeah.
Well, you had a choice to move someplace else. This is not Kenya. See, nyumbani. It's not like you're saying, this is where I was born. This is my village. It's not your village.
True.
You can move.
You can go anywhere.
Yeah. So I think I'll just tell them to have the courage and speak to people who've done it.
Yeah.
And say, hey, because sometimes it's a fear. People have fear.
Yeah.
But if you can actually answer their questions and the fear is taken away, then maybe they're able to make a decision, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just that's all I can say. Don't be afraid.
Yeah. Let me ask you, do you, when people are sitting here with me, I treat them like presidents or queens, in your case, a queen. And I equate this to the United States presidency. When a president is leaving the office, they normally get a letter written to them by the current president. So by the former president. So the current president is going to leave a question for the next president. And so today you're the president on this seat.
Okay.
And so there is normally a question left here for you by the previous president who was seated in this seat. And so you're going to also get an opportunity to write a question for the guest who's going to be sitting here next to you next time. And so the question that was left here for you is this. Do you regret all the mistakes you made in your life journey? In your life's journey, I think is what they meant. Do you regret all the mistakes you made in your life's journey?
Oh, that's a question that was left by the previous
for
person
you
sitting here for me. Actually, no. I don't regret because all the mistakes I made in my life, I turned around and corrected in some way, so there's nothing that I did or happened to me that I did not pick myself up and be like, okay, I need to do this differently. And when I did things differently, then things went the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the mistakes were made. And obviously, if I could turn around and not have some mistakes on my books, if I knew better, yes, I would have turned around, but obviously that ship sailed. But I've always been very quick to pick myself up and correct and move forward, you know. And the other thing is also I am a strong faith-based person. I believe in God, and I believe in just our dependency on God. So I feel like just the fact that I've been dependent on God and knowing that things may not always work out for me the way I want, but I'm depending on God, so that just knowing that I don't have control, maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Like I don't have control over everything in my life, and bad things will happen to me. So I know that already, but when they do happen, the question is, what do I do? So I'm quick to pick myself up and not dwell on the regret and the negative. So that way I don't get into that rabbit hole. I pick myself up quick. But yes, the things I've done, things were done to me or things I regret, but I don't live in that moment. I try to pick myself up and depend on God. I depend on God to just say, you know what, give me the strength, the hope, and just that mindset, so I don't even end up killing some people.
I see what you mean. Quick question. If I were to follow up on that a little bit, if there is someone who's stuck on the mistakes that they made, what would you tell this person? You
have to move forward. You cannot live on the past. The past is not really, you're just going to get into depression. You're going to get into anxiety. No, you just have to say, you know what? Yes, it's happened to me, but it does not define me. And I'm going to do better. I'm going to move forward. And you're not the first person to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. So not unless you want to be perfect, but you cannot be perfect. You know what I mean? So don't be stuck on your mistakes. You just have to move forward, and you have to have something to hold on to. And I think for me, I don't know what other people hold on to, but I hold on to God. So I don't know, but that's how I try to do it.
So in the tradition that I just, told you, this is your opportunity right now to write a question for the next guest on the show. So the most interesting thing is that I never see this question until I am seated in front of the guest and I'm just about to ask this question. So, just take your time, think about your question, and whenever you're ready, you can write it over here.
Cool.
This pen.
Thank you. I will. Okay.
Thank you.
I hope I wrote in a way you can read. But
of
that's
course.
A good thing. Are we still recording?
Yeah, we're still recording.
Okay, cool.
So, Kendi, thank you for hanging out with me. We've had a great chat about, a lot about your journey into becoming financially independent. We've talked about, real estate, your work as a real estate, as a realtor. we've talked about how anybody can get themselves into a state of financial independence like you have, and many other things that they can do to to change their current situation. And most importantly, we've talked about how living in New Brunswick is beautiful and in awesome communities and cheaper than many other places in Canada. But it is possible that in our discussion, there's something that you wanted to say, and you probably didn't get an opportunity to say it, maybe because I didn't ask the right leading question, or because there was just not an opportunity to say it. So if you have something that you really wanted to say, as a parting shot, this is the opportunity to say it.
I think the only thing I would say is moving to a different province or a different place is a choice and a decision. You must come to terms with yourself and want it for yourself. And it's not something that someone else can bring to you, because I've seen people move sometimes places and they're not joyful, or they're not happy, or they don't have peace that they moved. So you always have to have peace. Even with coming from Africa, there's some of us who came from Kenya maybe a long time ago. Some people maybe wish they never came to North America, or they wish I wish I was back home. Others feel like, oh, I'm happy, I'm glad I moved, right? You know what I mean? So it's the same thing. When you're trying to think, should I move from Ontario or BC to go to New Brunswick, you have to have come into terms with it yourself, that you want to do this.
Yeah.
And let it never be a situation where you make a drastic decision and then you regret it. So always make sure you've come into terms with the idea and the reason why. Ask yourself, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And if you cannot answer that question, then don't move. But if you can answer that question, why am I moving? Then
by all means.
Yeah, you should be able to answer that for yourself.
Yeah.
Not me answering for you. You answer for yourself. Yeah. So that's all I can say.
Beautiful. Folks, if you made it this far, I think it's because you did like this episode. So if you haven't yet, do subscribe to this channel. And remember to tell your friends to tell their friends. Today, I've been hanging out with Kendi Mworia, a realtor and a life insurance agent. I'm going to leave the contacts to Kendi on the description to this video below. You can reach out to her anytime. She's really, really resourceful. Fixed me up a couple of times when she was doing fixer-uppers, if I was the fixer-upper. But till next time, do take care.
Thank you.
Kwaheri.